Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Rotary meeting. Today is Wednesday, February 4th. It is just past noon. And are we going to start with the Rotary Minute today?
No Rotary Minute, straight to introductions.
All right, excellent. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in and joining. We'll go around the room, the wheels, the spokes of the wheel of Rotary, and we'll just do quick self introductions from our Rotarians before we get to our guests and speaker. So I'm just going to go in the order that the Hollywood squares appear on my screen, and that's going to start us with Rita McGee.
Good afternoon, Rita McGee, local estate planning attorney, and sit on various boards here in the city.
Thank you, Rita. We know that you are very involved. It would be probably easier to list organizations that you are not involved with. Glenn Johnson, you're up.
I'm Glenn Johnson. I'm a member of Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Appreciate you. Elizabeth Sachs.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Elizabeth Sachs, retired LASO.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Raymond Foster.
Hey, Raymond Foster. I'm your Zoom master and past president of Rotary Club.
Welcome, Raymond. Steve Scott, looking chipper and happy as ever.
Always. Hi, everybody. My name's Steve Scott, few-time past president, and I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas.
Excellent. Thank you, Steve. Dominic Torres, I see you're muted. Are you able to speak? We will skip Dominic. And then Shata, are you available to introduce yourself? Oh, Dominic?
You can talk now. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to undo it for some weird reason.
No problem.
Dominic Torres with the Satellite Rotary Club. I own High Point Brewing Company.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll come back around. I see a couple. I'm not sure. Owner, is that a guest or? All right. We'll go ahead and circle back after our presentation. So our speaker, thank you very much for joining us. Our speaker today for our program of Step Inside Hollywood's Forgotten Stories. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Just a quick bio on Manny Pacheco, Southern California broadcaster, college educator, celebrated author. Pacheco is the creator of the Forgotten Hollywood book series, podcast, award-winning blog, and an upcoming documentary. His broadcasting career began at legendary KRLA 1110 AM, where he was hired by Art Laboe, and is currently a weekend traffic reporter on KNX 1070 AM and 97.1 FM. Manny, take it away. You could share your screen if you'd like to. And yeah, we're excited for the presentation. Thank you for being here.
You're gonna have to help me how to share the screen.
I think Raymond has to enable that if he hasn't already, and then I believe it's a button down at the bottom.
Under video?
It should be share screen, right?
Oh, I see. Share.
Share, yeah.
Did that do it? I don't think I don't think I need to do that, but anyway.
Okay. I do see the Zoom screen.
Yeah, that's not what I want. I think I'm gonna
I just sent the money. Thank you so much.
Let's just stop sharing, and then I'll just get going.
There we
All
go.
right, there we go. I'm just going to do it this way. Hi there, everybody. I'm Manny Pacheco. As you heard, I'm a radio announcer for 45 years. It's scary to say that. I'm happy to be working at KNX and do the weekend traffic. I fill in here and there. Hired by the legendary Art Laboe, and also work at three colleges teaching media studies and radio at Rio Hondo College in Whittier. I work at Long Beach City College, and I work at Mount San Antonio College in Walnut. I'm sure happy to be here with your group. This is my 105th Rotary presentation. I'm pretty proud of that. And so, what I'm going to do today is talk about my Forgotten Hollywood franchise, but under the umbrella of the fact that I knew who my audience is, I'm going to tell stories that actually relate to Rotary. And my Forgotten Hollywood book series basically captures the stories about actors who were not the big stars. They weren't the Humphrey Bogarts or the Betty Davises or the Katharine Hepburns or the Cary Grants or the James Stewarts, but these are the actors who appeared below the titles of screens, the people where you recognize their faces, but you can't. You're starting to forget their names, and that's kind of a shame. So I try to, in my book series, share these fabulous stories that relate to Americana. So basically, Hollywood meets Americana, what I metaphorically call my Hollywood and Vine moments. And this is my third actually Rotary by Zoom. So this is kind of a new experience for me. I usually like to run around and tell my stories in a very manic way. So I've got to contain myself a little so I stay on camera. But today I'm going to tell a couple of stories about some actors that you may have heard of, actors that you might not have heard of. But these are actors nonetheless that are very familiar to you, and I'll explain how and how they relate to Rotary. And I want to begin with an actor who had a very minor career in Hollywood. Big real life personality. But if I say the name Arthur Lake, you're probably not going to know who he is. Quite frankly, he was known for one thing in Hollywood, and that was that he spent most of his career playing Dagwood Bumstead in the Blondie series of films and television. And how that happened is the story I like to tell in a chapter I do in my books called From the Sublime to the Ridiculous. The sublime part, Arthur Lake was came from a Hollywood family of silent actors. When talkies came around, he came off as a very Lou Costello, Abbott and Costello type of bumbling kind of actor, very milquetoast, very innocent, but always managed to trip over something. And he made his career of doing things like that. But he was a very well liked, popular actor. People enjoyed being around him, and he was a very popular actor who visited the William Hearst family castle. And of course, if we know William Hearst, we know Citizen Kane was based on William Hearst. He was a mogul in the area of journalism, and he loved to have Hollywood parties that promoted his significant other, shall we say, named Marion Davies. And Marion Davies was friends with all sorts of actors, from Charlie Chaplin to Clark Gable to Myrna Loy to Arthur Lake. And so Arthur Lake would attend these parties, and lo and behold, he met a young lady who happened to be the love child of Marion Davies and William Randolph Hearst. This love child was considered a cousin or a niece, never considered a child, obviously, because Hearst was married. But nonetheless, Arthur Lake fell in love, and he married this young lady. And Hearst basically pulled him aside and said, "Look, you know our history. I don't want publicity on the relationship I have with Marion Davies, so you keep quiet about this, and you will never have to work a day in your life again." He became the richest actor in Hollywood. And so he worked here and there. He had kind of a good time making whatever films that came about, but there weren't many offers. And he spent a lot of time, believe it or not, when World War II started emerging, at the Hollywood Canteen, which was a Hollywood-based place for soldiers to hang out that was formed by Warner Brothers, Betty Davis, and John Garfield. And Arthur Lake did his bit, enjoying time as the richest man in Hollywood, serving up meals and spending time with soldiers at the Hollywood Canteen. One night, he came across this forlorn woman who actually seemed so sad and so despondent. And he sat down and he spoke with her. And even though he was a married man, he was very innocently talking with her. And a lot of pictures came about from that. Nothing which was scandalous. It's got the pictures and a little promotion for Arthur Lake, and it was all good until this woman later, 2 weeks later, was found dead in a park in Lemert, the Lemert section of Los Angeles. And this crime was never solved. It is the oldest cold case file on record for LAPD, and it was known as the Black Dahlia. And she was Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia herself. And all of a sudden, the richest man in Hollywood, along with the head of LA Times and Orson Welles, they all became suspects in the crime because he was seen with her in pictures that were made public. So here's an actor who does just nominal work. And now he's the richest actor in Hollywood, and now he's accused of a really salacious crime that captured and gripped the nation. So that's the sublime of Arthur Lake. Let's talk about the ridiculous. William Randolph Hearst was very much in favor of getting his son-in-law working again. And so he would look through his newspaper and try to come up with ideas for maybe film projects. And lo and behold, he found that idea in a comic strip within the William Hearst papers. And that comic strip was called Blondie. And most people think that Blondie was created for Penny Singleton, the woman who actually played Blondie. But in truth, William Randolph Hearst financed this idea to make sure that his son-in-law would play Dagwood Bumstead. And he became so synonymous with the character, that's all he played for the rest of his career. And Dagwood Bumstead was known for two things. He was known for always being late for work, knocking over the postman, letters flying everywhere, and his feet up. And he was also known for these magnificent sandwiches that he would make for himself. They were huge. They were like this big, lots of meats, lots of breads, lots of cheeses, and an olive on top. So that's what he was known, and it became so popular they called it the Dagwood sandwich, which was the most popular sandwich in America in the late 1940s and into the 1950s. When television emerged and they created a Blondie series, they changed the part of Blondie, but Dagwood Bumstead was again played by Arthur Lake. Because he did television and he didn't work a lot, he worked seasonally, he had plenty of time to spend. And since there was no longer a Hollywood canteen, he joined the Rotary. And he would tour the countryside actually as an ambassador for the Rotary, doing speeches like I'm doing today. And for lunch, every time he was the guest speaker, would be the Dagwood sandwich. And it was a very popular sandwich at Rotaries from the 1950s and into the 1960s. And when he retired, he actually still spoke at Rotaries, and they couldn't wait for those Dagwood sandwiches they would have at lunch. When he finally retired from speeches and everything else, the Dagwood sandwich was still a very popular item. But they couldn't call it the Dagwood for licensing purposes. So the Rotary would serve up these sandwiches
Did
and they would
William
call them-
Randolph Hearst
What's that now?
have a love child?
Yes. Yes. Was there a question in that? Anyway, these sandwiches were so popular at Rotaries, but they couldn't use the word Dagwood because it was a licensed name. The Rotary actually changed the name of the sandwich to the Rotary.
Oh,
Sorry,
Manny, you muted.
You got muted, Manny. If you'd unmute
Okay,
yourself.
I just did. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
I think you all got the idea that the Rotary Club started doing Rotary Club sandwiches that were actually the Dagwood sandwiches. There was a Rotary member in Los Angeles who was a restaurateur and wanted to steal this idea of these fabulous sandwiches, but he didn't like the idea of using the name Rotary Club sandwich. So what he did is he dropped the name Rotary and he simply called it the club sandwich. The club sandwich comes from Arthur Lake and his character Dagwood. The Rotary Club sandwich is now the club sandwich, and it is the most popular sandwich in America today. you have something to share with the most popular, and that is pretty ridiculous in my estimation, but it's fun. And when I found that story, I knew that I had to tell it to Rotaries across America because you have a tie to Hollywood in that way. So that's my story of Arthur Lake. And now I'd like to go into a really important story that I share every time I get up to speak somewhere. I always end up telling the story of Lionel Barrymore. Now, the name Barrymore, I mean, we're talking about a name that is so synonymous with Hollywood. There was his brother John Barrymore, the great profile, his sister Ethel Barrymore. His father was an actor. Lionel Barrymore was the best of the bunch. He was an actor's actor. He was so prolific in silent films, so prolific that they asked him to direct. That's how good an actor this actor Lionel Barrymore was. He directed films, he made films, he acted in films, but truth be told, he did not want to be an actor. He wanted to be a painter. And so by directing, he figured he could create three-dimensional paintings. And he was so happy to do that. But he was such a good actor that MGM came calling. If you don't know who MGM is, it was the biggest and the best of all the Hollywood studios. There was Warner Brothers, there were Universal, there was 20th Century Fox, but MGM was the best of the best. They were known for having more actors than there are in the heavens. More actors than there are in the heavens. Imagine that. And they did. They had a lot of actors. They had everybody from Clark Gable to Spencer Tracy, Robert Taylor, Myrna Loy, William Powell, Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney. They had the biggest actor who made more money than any other actor in the history of Hollywood, and that was Lassie. And they had Lionel Barrymore now in their fold. But they had a rule for Lionel. As long as he was acting at MGM, he could never direct again. And that made him very, very sad. But he was a defiant actor, and he went up to the head of the studio, Louis B. Mayer, and says, "If I am no longer allowed to direct, you're going to get the best actor on the lot, and you better tell the other actors that when I'm on stage or on screen with them, everybody will be looking at me." That's how confident he was. He was so confident, he called the head of the studio by his first name. Nobody did that. It was Mr. Mayer, but he called him Louis B. And Louis B. Mayer loved Lionel so much that he ended up giving him a lifetime contract, which means that he never had to work anywhere else for the rest of his life but at NGM till the day he died. That's how cherished and loved and beloved Lionel Barrymore was. And he made great films. He made Dinner at Eight, which has just been honored by the Library of Congress. He made Grand Hotel, Rasputin and the Empress with his brother and sister. He made fabulous films like, oh, what? It was written by Rudyard Kipling. It was a big film with Spencer Tracy and Freddie Bartholomew and John Carradine and Mickey Rooney and Charlie Grapewin. I mean, every actor in the world. Spencer Tracy actually won an Oscar, but it was Lionel Barrymore who played the captain in Captain's Courageous. Captain's Courageous was this magnificent film in 1937 where if you see it on the big screen, you can actually feel the Atlantic just lap you. It is so magnificent. And Lionel Barrymore was the captain, but he had a problem. He kept falling. And at the conclusion of the making of this film, he fell and he broke his hip. So he ended up going to the doctor. The doctor says, okay, you have a broken hip, it'll heal. But we did some further tests and we have discovered you have degenerative advanced arthritis. Within a year, you're going to be on crutches. Within 2 years, you will be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And in 1937, when you're hit with a disability this huge, usually your career is over. Your career is over if you're a bank teller. Your career is over if you sell cars. Definitely your career is over if you're an actor. And that's what Lionel Barrymore was facing at the young age of 56. So he hobbled back to MGM in Culver City, marched as good as he could because he had a broken hip, into the office of Louis B. Mayer. And he says, Louis, I hope you don't mind me bothering you this Monday morning, but I've got a problem and I want to share it with you. And Louis B. Mayer says, well, anything for you, Lionel, please share away. Well, I need to let you know that I have a broken hip, but it will heal. Now, Louis B. Mayer's reaction was he was mortified. He says, well, just go home and heal and we'll bring you back. He says, no, 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 I've got a bigger problem. He says, what could it possibly be? He says, well, I have advanced degenerative arthritis. Within a year, I'm going to be on crutches. Within 2 years, I will be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Louis B. Mayer's reaction was simply this. He couldn't believe it. And then Lionel Barrymore said one more thing. He says, I've got something else I need to share with you. And Louis B. Mayer, almost sobbing, said, you've ruined my day, my week, my year. Please go ahead, but please don't make it hard on me. This is the worst day of my life. Lionel Barrymore said, I have a lifetime contract at MGM that I expect you to honor even if I'm in a wheelchair. And Louis B. Mayer said, absolutely, we are going to honor the contract. And so Lionel Barrymore was happy, but Louis B. Mayer wasn't sure this was a good idea. So he said something that nobody ever likes to hear. That one word that everybody hates when it's your boss saying it. And that word was, but there is this project taking place at another studio, Columbia Pictures. Columbia Pictures was this little studio that did one big and very important thing. They discovered the amazing director Frank Capra. But they didn't do much more. I mean, they were known for the Three Stooges, but basically they were part of Poverty Row. Poverty Row were these smaller studios that didn't make as much money as the big four. Paramount, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and of course MGM. Well, Louis B. Mayer says, I need you to go over to Columbia Pictures and make this movie with Jean Arthur and this little actor named James Stewart. You're going to get second billing, and we want you to do this film. And it was 1938. He was going to hobble over there. He knew he was going to have to be on crutches, but he made the movie. And this was 1938 was a big year for movies. It was the year before Gone with the Wind, but boy, there were some fabulous movies made in 1938. And the best of the bunch probably was The Adventures of Robin Hood, made at Warner Brothers. This Technicolor swashbuckler with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, Alan Hale, and Claude Rains, Basil Rathbone. I mean, just a star-studded cast. Errol Flynn was magnificent, and it was made in Technicolor. So this was the film that everybody figured was going to be the best picture of the year. Well, it turned out it wasn't. The picture that ended up being the best picture of the year was the Frank Capra directed You Can't Take It With You, starring Jean Arthur and Lionel Barrymore on crutches. It was a popular movie. People didn't care that he was on crutches. In fact, I have an interview that I did with Margaret O'Brien, who is a child actor of the 1940s, who made two movies with Lionel Barrymore, and she confirmed that the audiences didn't care that he ended up in a wheelchair, and they didn't care that he was on crutches when he made movies, and he became a very, very popular actor, probably more popular in a wheelchair than prior. And from that point on, after winning the Best Picture, Lionel Barrymore never looked back. And he made movies like Test Pilot, A Guy Named Joe. He co-starred with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in Key Largo. He made this wonderful series of movies in a wheelchair as a doctor, playing Dr. Gillespie in the very popular Dr. Kildare movies, a series of movies, and you best know him as the evil villain, Mr. Potter, in It's a Wonderful Life, another Frank Capra movie. So his career was set. He was so popular that when a young lady went to the movies, this young lady could not see, could not hear, and was told how the movie played out in Braille, being told in her hand. When Helen Keller found out about Lionel Barrymore, she immediately wrote to her friend, Eleanor Roosevelt, and said, our time has come to fight the good fight against disease and disability and its perception. You need to talk to your husband so that he can help fight with Hollywood this terrible stigma known as disability. And back then it was known as handicap. So Eleanor Roosevelt went to her husband, who, by the way, was also disabled. He suffered from his own afflictions. And she mentioned to her husband, Franklin D. Roosevelt, about this great man, Lionel Barrymore, who was still making movies while in a wheelchair. And he applauded it. Bravo, he would say, bravo. But I'm already fighting this fight, and I'm fighting to raise awareness and money for the campaign against my disease. And so he had this affliction and he was going to raise money, but he had this idea to use Hollywood to champion the cause. The only problem is that Lionel Barrymore was a Republican and Franklin D. Roosevelt was a Democrat, so he wasn't really inclined to help Franklin out in any way. But other actors emerged. I mean, Margaret O'Brien and Mickey Rooney and Eddie Cantor. Eddie Cantor came and he supported every year on Franklin D. Roosevelt's birthday awareness to raise money to fight his problem. It was called infantile paralysis. The fight against infantile paralysis was the campaign, and Eddie Cantor hated the title. He says, Mr. President, I've got this great idea. Why don't we change the name of the fight against infantile paralysis? You tell me that children are donating money everywhere all year long. They're donating their pennies. They're donating their nickels. They're donating their quarters. They're donating their dimes. Let us call it something as simple as the March of Dimes. And of course, Franklin D. Roosevelt loved it. He loved the energy and he said, Capital, let's do it. And they did. They instantly changed the name to the March of Dimes, and it became the most popular of all campaigns against disease and disability. So popular that they helped eradicate polio, as it was now called in the 1950s, and across time, across the United States. So popular that the Rotary all of a sudden joined the campaign internationally so it could eradicate polio in places like Afghanistan and Pakistan, something you've been working on for 50 years. You don't even know that your legacy stems from a Hollywood collaboration from Franklin D. Roosevelt and the actors who championed the cause. This this fight was so popular and so successful that all you have to do is reach in your pocket, pull out a dime, and the face of that dime is Franklin D. Roosevelt. Your efforts, your legacy is based on a president who was championing with Hollywood his cause because he was confined to a wheelchair. Your legacy is tied with a woman who would go to the movies even though she couldn't see or couldn't hear, named Helen Keller. Your legacy was with an actor who refused to not appear on screen because he simply had to sit in a wheelchair. In fact, he said, This is my set. This is my studio. This wheelchair is from where I perform in Lionel Barrymore. That is your legacy, and that is a legacy that I want to share with the public. I'm making a documentary that tells the story, the interesting story of three players, Roosevelt, Keller, and Barrymore, who barely knew each other. In the case of Roosevelt and Barrymore, they never met, but they worked in tandem to change the way we look at disease and disability, and they championed the cause to eliminate polio in America. And then you picked up the cause, Rotary, to champion it across the world. It's a great story. It's an uplifting story. It's something I am committed to tell and share with the theater going public. And that is how I share my Rotary stories with Rotarians across America. And I really do appreciate that you gave me the opportunity to tell these wonderful stories about Hollywood actors and the Rotary. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. It was a great presentation. We'll open it up to questions. Any questions from Rotarians? I also see Dennis Franklin, our district governor-elect, has joined us. I apologize, I missed you earlier. Thank you for being here. And yeah, let's get into questions, and then we'll hear from Dennis.
I think it was a good one to be on here, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would love to be able to share this story. I mean, like I said, I've been to 105 chapters of Rotary, including in Chicago, the home of Rotary. I actually spoke at the O'Hare Group. I have spoken to Rotaries across the country. I love what Rotary does. I'm committed to telling this story and giving Rotary as much credit as I can. I would love to tell and share this story of what Rotary and Hollywood has done. I think it's a great story under the banner of Lionel Barrymore to be able to share this story at a higher level of Rotary and maybe a district level as opposed to the individual. I think I might be able to reach people who might want to help me collaborate and make a Rotary a partner in this, I think, a real worthy venture.
I think we can make that happen there, Manny. Thank you. Why don't you put your phone number in the chat and we can talk.
Okay, that would be great. I will do that. The chat. There we go. There we go. And
Dennis, I can also send you his email address. I think I tell you what, this is one speaker that kept me in my seat at Pets.
I appreciate that. I just think that Hollywood is one of those things. I mean, there's certain places like you mentioned Hawaii and people are always interested, or you mentioned Vegas and then the ears perk up. I think Hollywood has a magic. And even though Hollywood is really just LA County, and there's only two Hollywoods, and the only real Hollywood, just where you call it Hollywood proper, is in Florida. That the Hollywoods in here in Southern California are West Hollywood and North Hollywood. But the image of Hollywood, the magic of Hollywood just remains, and it remains on those blocks between Vine and La Brea. I mean, that Hollywood Boulevard is just so iconic. And so I think these, and in my books, I actually have over, I don't know, 700 stories that I share. I was able to share two of them today, but I mean, I love sharing my stories. I've written a new book, actually, if I can show it.
Sure.
That I wrote with my sister because my blog actually won an award for the stories I tell about Hollywood. This one's called Forgotten Hollywood, Beware of the Blog. Here I share 125 different stories that my sister picked out about how Hollywood impacts the 21st century. Again, I talk about all the great actors, the supporting players, the main actors, just about every important movie is in this book. And it just came out, what, 4 or 5 months ago. I'm real proud of the collaborative effort. It became a family project. My sister, my nephew, all got involved with this one. And I think that Hollywood still resonates. And even though the magic may have faded with modern movies, I think old Hollywood still has that real magic. And all you have to do is go visit a Turner Classic Film Festival to understand that it's still very popular with people of all ages. I see when I go to the TCM festival, I see 17-year-olds and I see 107-year-olds. I mean, it covers all ages. Their love for classic film is palpable. And when Warner Brothers tried to shut down Turner, the flood of emails and mail, this happened 2 years ago, by the way, the flood of emails, mails, phone calls, and the participation of none other than Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese to stop that from happening, it became a reality. And Turner Classic Movies remains today as what Martin Scorsese calls a Hollywood treasure. So Hollywood is real, and I'm happy to share their stories.
All right, great. Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
I have a thought.
Sure.
So, Manny, one of the things I just got back from International Assembly, and that's where they trained governors from all around the world, literally people from, I think it was like 200 countries that were represented. It was an incredible thing. And by the way, I'd stopped at Hollywood, Florida on my way in there, but that's a separate story. But the theme for the coming year for Rotary is create a lasting impact. And just what you were saying is, here's this guy with this tremendous talent, and what he did led to this, which led to this. And the impact is, instead of 300,000 people dying or being crippled by polio, we're down to 36 in 2025. The impact. And those are some stories. And what they told us, they encouraged us to tell the story, not of that, hey, we did this, this, and this. Tell the story of the impact, because that's what draws people in.
And I have to say, I'm so thrilled to hear that that's this year's theme. I think that's fabulous. Mm-hmm. And I would love to collaborate and partner with Rotary as in the production, because I would love to hear first. I would love to interview firsthand people who have the stories of Rotary that are intimate, and they would be exclusive. And this is a film that it could make the theaters. But even if if this film that was finished just made each of the chapters, all of the local chapters. Think of how many viewers we would have just for this, and that inspiration could help so that we can bring that number down to 0, which I think would be the most worthy of goals. So I'm ready to partner with Rotary. I mean, I've been speaking to Rotary since 2011, so I'm intimate with Rotary. I every time I visit a Rotary club, something fabulous comes from it. I've made lasting friendships from Rotaries from across the country, and I just want to take it to the next level. I think it's time that we actually reach the folks who are part of the decision-making process of achieving, for example, that theme in real terms. So that's a goal, and I'm willing to champion with whoever is going to see that dream come true, and then make it available to all Rotary members. I think
one of the other things that they really encouraged us to do is to partner with other organizations and other groups and other people, which again ties right into exactly what you're saying. But they made a major point on showing us, hey, we partnered with World Vision, for example. Huge. Those people have some of the biggest, deepest pockets financially. They do a fantastic job. We bring other things to the table that can help them with their causes and vice versa. But they were using those examples. How do you partner? And, you have some exposure to the media, some of the, I think we can help each other.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if this documentary was narrated by none other than Drew Barrymore?
That's what went through my mind when you're doing. I bet you Drew Barrymore would be all over that. I would be if I was her.
And we would actually get the magic of her family retrospective. So we want to make this as authentic and as real and as true to the facts as we possibly can. So bringing in partners like Rotary, who can tell us the Rotary side of the story and the Barrymore side of the story, I think that and I also have believe it or not, I have a tie with the Franklin D. Roosevelt Library as well. So I could also work with them to make sure that everything we say is right on the money, accurate, and tell the story the way it needs to be told. And fortunately, I have a working screenplay as well. So, I mean, we're there. I've got a business model. I've got a few things. We need to obviously raising the capital is always a big thing, but that's for everybody in Hollywood. I'm not unique to that. But partnering with somebody like Rotary would be a wonderful collaboration in my estimation.
All right. Yeah, that sounds great. I know you. District Governor-elect has your information, so hopefully you two can connect and get that into the works. You're welcome to stay on, Manny. We do have some club business. You're welcome to stay, or if you need to go, I totally understand.
I have some things that I have to get, the personal things I have to get done, but I really do appreciate the time I spent at Rotary. The only thing I regret is I didn't get a chance to, enjoy some real-time fellowship, but Zoom is the next best thing. I welcome that too. It's a blessing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on the agenda, Fine Master. Rita, do you want to jump in? You're muted.
That's what the Refine Master should be, muted.
Give me a second. Let me pull everything.
That keeps it cheap, right?
Hang on. Let me pull up my language. I apologize. I was in the middle of something.
Yeah, we were too. It's called a meeting.
Yeah, Nick turned on his camera. I think he wants to be fined.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned it off. I don't know what I did with my here it is. Okay. Sorry, it's been a long day. Okay. Just kidding, it's popping up. Okay. So, if you would like to find yourself for anything good because you're winning in life and can afford it, the bad because we need to keep you humble, or the ugly because if you did that, you deserve we deserve compensation for your emotional distress. But every dollar goes back to serving our community. So technically, this is a charity. So if you wish to find yourself, please do so. I'm going to start. I'm going to find myself $20 for the chaos that was the booster meeting this morning.
Yeah, that was 2 hours of my life that I will not get back.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, I'm gonna find myself $10 because I've started out the year with some healthy habits and I've lost 10 pounds since New Year's. So I'm gonna find myself $10 and hopefully there will be more fines to come here in the next few months.
Hey, so I'm going to put down $5. We had Kathleen, Supervisor Barger, pony up to 2026, but I want to tell you that our commitment now for 2026 is $60,500. The Masonic Lodge just kicked in 500, and a little bird told me that there might be another $5,000 check headed our way. So we are $10,000 above the drone show limit. We're almost to the point where we can exhale.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that 5,000 uncommitted, rumblings is the same that I heard of, but I have heard of a possible another 5,000. So we can connect after this and see. Hopefully, it's not the same.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Awesome.
So those taking notes, that was a $5,000 fine for Raymond Foster. Any other fines?
I'm going to find myself $10 because, frankly, just being married to Rita, I feel like I'm winning every day, and I really need to pay for that.
Well done, sir.
That's more than $5.
I said 10. I said 10.
10.
She's expensive, guys.
All right.
It's my birthday week. If you could tell, that's why he's being nice to me.
You have a birthday day, and that's over.
I think he's being nice because the other thought is terrifying. So
yeah, very fair point.
All right, let's keep moving right along into Action 360 and food drive update.
Yes, we have one more planning meeting to go. The sheriffs are in, and the big truck, the 55-foot van, is in. So it is March 14th with the travel date out to the 5 bases on March 16th. I anticipate getting between 4 and 6 tons of food like every time. The Humane Society will be giving enough food for 100 medium-sized dogs and 50 cats. So that's probably a ton of right there. So all kinds of stuff's coming together with the food drive. Friday, and I'll just skip down because they're connected. We're going to tour, if anybody would like to go, we're going to tour the Diamond Bar. It's not a country club. It is a dining room facility for the Marine Corps dinner in Diamond Bar. And they've offered it to us for $1 as a fee So what we'd have to arrange is the caterers. That'll be 2 o'clock on Friday, 1600 South Grand Avenue in Diamond Bar. It's a tour. I know we're moving it out of San Dimas, which we don't want to do, but really we have to find a facility. So
The golf course, Raymond?
what's that?
Is it the dining facility at the golf course?
I'm not certain if it is or not. The Making Spirits Bright Cabal has come up with this.
Okay, it can't because Diamond Bar is on Golden Springs, so it must be another location.
I think it's the Diamond Bar Civic Center ballroom or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if it is similar to the Plumber Building, then the Plumber Building we could get for $1 too. I'm pretty convinced of that. So we'll probably stick here. But we are going to go out. We're still looking on that. Kickoff party for the food drive is it I think it's the 12th.
It is the 12th, Thursday, the 12th, High Point Brewing Co. from 5 to 7. Bring 6 cans of food, and we will comp your first beer.
Awesome.
And that's this Thursday?
No, sorry, that is March 12th. So 6 weeks from now, I think. That is, March 12th, High Point Brewing Co., 402 West Arrow Highway in San Dimas. It's a food collection space from 5 to 7. And then our food drive, the real food drive is at the Masonic Lodge in San Dimas. That is 220 North Monte Vista Avenue in downtown San Dimas. And that is going to go from 9 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, March 14th. And that's where the majority of food collections will be received and packaged.
And we will be loading the truck that Monday that Saturday we'll be loading the truck.
That's what I was going to bring up. So we're loading on that day, but what was the time we were loading at?
I talked to him about having the truck there at 3 o'clock. But I want to talk to Glenn because I'm wondering, it was good for palleting to get it on. It was bad for palleting to get it off because they had to break down the pallets in the desert inside the truck in August. It just didn't work out as well. So I'm wondering if maybe we can get him to park it on the street and we could load it by hand as we went along. I don't know. We got to think about it. We got the truck. That's the important part.
Right.
Yeah, and then the question from my standpoint, I won't be at 29 Palms, but breaking down those pallets and at the unload, are there 25 Marines to help out with that?
There will be, yes. There'll be a small squad there, a work party of at least a couple of dozen. I've already arranged that. So we're still trying to figure out how to do Fort Irwin too. If somebody has a pickup truck and they want to volunteer to do the Fort Irwin run. And the LA Air Force Base, we're probably going to do diapers again. And the Coast Guard, I'm not certain what we're going to do, but we'll figure something out.
Okay. As I said before, I can do Fort Irwin, but not that Monday because my truck will be going to Camp Pendleton.
Camp Pendleton?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get somebody else to go out on that Monday.
Okay.
Sounds
good.
The other one on the list for Action 360 is the cornhole tournament. I just want to keep that in everybody's mind. That's our major fundraiser in August. And also, it's not up there, but tonight is teacher mini grant presentations. An email just went out. Be at the boardroom at 5:45 p.m. I have the checks and the giant checks. So,
yeah, I'm going to give you an update on that at the end of the meeting, Raymond, just so you know who's going to attend. I just got off the phone with Jennifer from BUSD to confirm attendees. So we looks like we'll have 5, so we can we don't have to do 6 checks.
We only have 5 checks. I found out last night, so we didn't do Jared's.
Okay, I'll give you the details, and we can figure that out.
Okay.
And then I have not attended in the past the school board meeting where we present this and hand out the checks. I'm sure they want us to keep it very short.
Yeah. She told me
it's very much like the public comments section at City Council.
Okay.
Right at the beginning, they do it. You've got about 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's exactly what she told me in the email. We're going to be first So she said we don't have to be there 5:45, but they definitely want us there. They start promptly at 6, so 5:50 at the very latest. And all Rotarians are welcome to come. Mike, she did ask who was going to be doing the speaking. I just gave them mine and your names, and if you want to run it, I'll happily sit there and watch. But I put both of our names as people who would go up and speak potentially.
Okay, all right. No, that sounds great. Yeah. So yeah, I have it on my calendar actually at 5:30 to make sure that I am not tardy. So I will be there.
All right. Yeah, I'm coming straight from another meeting, so I probably won't be there until right at 5:45, but I'll be there.
Okay.
Can we go back to the food drive for a second? I just scheduled coffee hour for my office, like I do every year for the food drive. I think it's going to be March 10th. Um, Sylvia gave me the option to do it here in my office or to do it at the chamber. What, in your opinion, should I do? I mean, I could talk about my business anywhere, but given the stairs, I don't know if it's better to have it at the chamber to avoid having to carry all this down, and potentially having more room.
I think we should do the chamber. The stairs is the big issue, and there's more room. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I
If
will.
and I'll help you promote that. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, she just sent me the flyer. I'll show it to you when I see you in a couple hours again. Just have her approve it and go from there.
And I picked up 50 handmade quilts for the enlisted children.
Okay.
And the boxes are supposed to come today. 15 of the donation boxes are already designated. If somebody needs a donation box, let me know. I know you want one, or you said 16. But everything's coming together very well. Those meetings are pretty short because I think we pretty much know what we're doing at this point.
I'll get too cocky there, Ray.
All right. Yeah, cornhole tournament on the calendar. And Steve, we should probably set up planning meeting at some point, and we'll need an updated flyer for the updated dates, and we can go from there.
Did we already speak with what's his face over at Laverne?
Ken, no, not yet. I had it on my calendar to stop by today. I don't know.
You want me to go by?
Yeah, if you're going to be in that area, that would be great. If not, I don't mind doing it this week.
I have an account across the street that I was going to go talk to anyways today. So
that would be great. Yeah, if you don't mind doing that. It is Saturday, August 1st.
Yeah, just text me the time, the date, so I'll have everything for him.
Yeah, I will. I'll send you a text as soon as we're done here.
Thanks.
All right. And then Steve, I'll just contact you about getting a call or a planning meeting, and we can go from there.
Yep, sounds great.
All right. U.S. Marine Corps dinner planning. Did we finish what we needed to talk about with the venue in Diamond Bar?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Calendar of events.
So we have a board meeting next week. After that, it'll be high performance teams will be the theme from a guy. It sounds like a great presentation. Then the final planning meeting is on the 25th. That is an evening meeting. On March 4th, it'll be Raise Your Energy with a guy named Dave Friedman. His presentation is excellent also. Then we kind of go into the whole food drive 2 weeks there. And then we have this really interesting speaker coming on March 18th. He's going to talk about the state of homeowners insurance in California. I don't know Steve Scott. I don't know this guy very well. And then, so we've pretty much got our speakers through the middle of April. If you've got anybody that you would like me to try to calendar, let me know. And we'll begin to actually work on next Rotary year's calendar at this point. So it looks good. That's it. That's your calendar.
Okay. Which date is the evening meeting?
The planning meeting for the food drive, which is February 25th, 6 p.m.
February 25th. Okay, great. And that'll be on Zoom.
Yeah, all this is a Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We do need to talk about I know we're not having a kickout party, but a club assembly in June. So think about a place you want to go.
Okay.
And we'll get that in the calendar also.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Four-way test. Test of everything we think, say, and do. Moral, ethical test. So we have, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I think of this as a four-way stop. You pass all four of these tests and you can be reasonably assured that you are acting in an ethical and fair manner. That's today's four-way test. Any closing remarks? Anything that we did not touch on that we should know about going into the community this week? No. All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Good meeting.
Everyone stick
1
around.
minute to 1.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for this. That's great. I'm really glad I got the opportunity to join you today. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it.